Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Harpoon and Puppies. This is the first edition of What the Facebook. What the Facebook is going to be my outlet for all things Facebook related. Some of the things I'm going to talk about, I'm going to wholeheartedly disagree with. Some of the things I'm going to talk about, I probably wouldn't be able to agree more with. But one thing that's always going to be constant is always going to be coming straight off my Facebook timeline. While I'm doing tonight's edition, I'm going to be playing a little bit of Tom Clancy's The Division as my pistols only character here. Tonight I'm going to be going for a bit of a soft open. The meme that brought up the topic, I don't think is anything really that's too controversial. It's just kind of a topic I find to be largely ridiculous. So as you can see, looking at the meme here, Trump can run for president with no political experience, but I need a master's degree and 5 years experience for an entry-level job. Now, first off, I just really want to say I don't give a crap that this meme explicitly says Trump. It could just say president. It could say freaking insert anybody else that's never held political office before. I don't care about all that. You shouldn't either. It's not going to be the point of this video. The point of this video is just way more about our politics and everything else like that, just in general. Now, I have to admit, when I first saw this meme, of course, I laughed. I thought it was pretty funny. But then it hit me all at once, and I just started to cry. I didn't really cry, but I really wanted to because it's just how blatantly true this meme actually is. It's not that far off. Now, as a recent graduate of engineering school myself, I have definitely come up against this while looking for quote-unquote entry-level jobs. A lot of the postings I've said have typically started off with 1 to 3 years of experience required. Some have been posted as entry level, requiring 3 to 5 years of schooling, or 3 to 5 years of experience. And very few of them actually started at the 0 range. Now, all of them, of course, made some exceptions for people with master's degree or PhDs, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. It's a lot of schooling, a lot of different experiences. But what gets me is the fact that in these entry-level jobs, none of them are anything but entry-level. What gets me is none of these expectations are entry-level. These expectations don't say, oh, hey, you just entered the workforce. It's, oh, hey, yeah, no, I've done this for a few years now. That's ridiculous. It's entry-level means just that. You just entered the workforce. I know some of you are probably thinking in your head, well, what about internships? Well, yeah, what about internships? Not all of us have had the opportunity to have internships. I, for instance, had to maintain a full-time job throughout almost all of school. And then when I was given the opportunity for an internship, I had the opportunity to do research instead. And I chose to do that and become published, which personally I thought was not a bad choice. But apparently to employers, that was definitely a bad choice. And there's others out there that have done the same thing I did. They had to work through college. They maybe had some experiences that weren't necessarily internships or otherwise. And these people are the ones that are getting washed out because they don't have what is considered quote-unquote hands-on experience or relevant experience in the field. And to me, that's just total BS. And really, honestly, I feel like it's a loss for the companies. They're missing out on potentially some really good talent just because, oh, you don't have traditional experience that we want. And it's just kind of garbage. And yet, as garbage as I think that is, and as garbage as I'm sure a lot of other people think that is, that's exactly what we want out of our political system. We want candidates that have no experience doing the job that we voted them in to do. And for an example of this, you don't have to look any farther than our current political race. Now, again, I promise you, I'm not trying to pick on Trump. He's just a good example of what I want to say. Trump has, as far as I know of, 0 political experience. The only reason people think he would be a good president is because he's, quote-unquote, ran businesses before. And sure, yeah, he's ran businesses. Some might consider him to be quite successful at it, others maybe not so much. But there's one thing that people need to realize is that the government is not a business. The government cannot be ran exclusively like a business. The government needs to be slightly more altruistic than most businesses can actually afford to be. The government sometimes needs to spend just a ton of money with no hope for recouping any of that money and no hope of any kind of return or profit, such as in the case of disasters and FEMA spending. And in the face of ever-present globalization, you can't just stop dealing with quote-unquote difficult customers. You know, I mean, look at North Korea, look at Iran, look at Russia, look at China. These are all people I would consider to be difficult customers for us. We can't just walk away from them or tell them you're not welcome here anymore. Like, it doesn't work that way. You can't be that hard-lined with it like you could in a business. And there are just a lot of other things that business and politics just don't share in that sense. And yet people will defend the fact that, say, Trump is a great businessman, so he'd be a great leader for the country. And it's not like he's the first one. I mean, people also will always mention, like, oh, how their wife or their husband or their friend would make an excellent president. And I'm just here to, like, lay it out right now. No, they wouldn't. Just because they seem to get along with their, like, your guys' close friends and family and some coworkers at work, and they think they have some great ideas, and maybe they do. But the fact of the matter is they're not prepped for running the government on a national level like the presidency. Now, yes, we do need these grassroots people. We do need these no experience politicians in our government, but they need to enter in where it's feasible. They need to enter in at the city level, at the state level. Maybe if they're really good, really good, have some great ideas, they might get voted into the National Senate, but they shouldn't jump straight to the top, straight to the presidency without prior experience holding a government office. It just doesn't make sense to me. You know, my favorite analogy for how ludicrous all this is that you wouldn't trust someone who's never been a surgeon before to perform open heart surgery on you. You wouldn't trust someone to pilot a jumbo jet that's never been a pilot before. And you wouldn't let a tax accountant build the Golden Gate Bridge. And yet, it's only in American politics that we willingly want the least qualified people to hold the office that, in my opinion, requires the most qualification. And I really just want that to set in. Like, I really want people to think about this. Like, why is it that you're willing to give such a highly qualified position to people so woefully underqualified? And that's this week's edition of What the Facebook. I'm Harpoon Puppies. This is Op-Ed Gaming. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
We're going to have to keep an eye on him from now on. Just don't ask me to do it personally. I don't want to be anywhere near him.